Yep. Good morning, everyone. So, yesterday we learned about a TypeScript, how to set up, and TypeScript architecture. So, we discussed about how to install TypeScript on PC. Now, today we will see the TypeScript language. So, first, so we will create a project for TypeScript. Creating a project for TypeScript, we will create one project for TypeScript because first we will learn TypeScript language completely, then we will use it for our React. So to learn language, you don't need any web pages and all. Directly through console, we can try. So here I will show you the process. What we have to do is to create a project for TypeScript, first basic thing, create a new folder on your PC for project. Suppose I created some TypeScript like folder. On my PC, I will create one. So I'm just creating a TypeScript folder here. TypeScript, yeah. So that is the folder for TypeScript. Then open in Visual Studio Code editor. We have to open in this editor. So in this editor, Visual Studio Code editor, and open this TypeScript folder that you created. Before that, make sure that you install TypeScript on your PC. Yesterday, I showed you the command, how to install TypeScript on our PC. We discussed that. And this is our project folder. So this is a TypeScript project. Okay. After opening this folder, in every TypeScript project, TypeScript related language rules or rules and configurations are maintained in a separate file. That file name is tsconfig.json. So every project that is using TypeScript, it can have some rules for TypeScript. Those rules are defined in this file. Earlier means 4-5 years back, we used to have another file called tslint.json, but that lint is now removed officially. It is not there. Means 3-4 years back projects means you will see the ts lint, but now it is removed. It is not there. It is present in tsconfig. Everything is maintained in this file. Any project, Angular, React, or any project which is using TypeScript, it will have one file called tsconfig. What is the purpose of this file is complete language configuration is defined here. Language rules and language configuration is defined here. Language rules means what? Language rules are nothing but like, suppose we have to write a string. How to write a string? How to enclose a string? We can use double quote, we can use single quote, we can use backtick. Now problem is, on a project several developers are working and everybody have his own way. One person will write single quote, another will write double quote. That mess up the, means that leads to inconsistency. Then what you can do is, through the configuration, you can mention the rules like string must be in single quote only. If developer writes double quote, it will show warning saying that as per the rules in this project, you should use single quotes like that. So such rules we can define inside this TS config. That's very important. Not only that, we are saying that TypeScript is converted into JavaScript, translated into JavaScript. Which version JavaScript? JavaScript have several versions like ES6, ES7, ES5. So TypeScript current version we are using 5.4. 5.4? Yes, 5.4. Yesterday we installed 5.4. So TypeScript current version is 5.4. When it translates the code to JavaScript, which JavaScript? Is it JavaScript 5, JavaScript 6, JavaScript 7? Every company will not be using same JavaScript. Then which JavaScript to use, that we can decide here in TS config. Not only that, for classes, modules, modules and classes require a module system. What are different module systems we have? Common JS, Require JS, UMD, AMD, ES, module systems. Different module systems are present. Which module system to use to compile your code? That module system, is it Common JS? Is it ES module? Which module system to use? Everything is configured inside this file. If you talk about this file in any interview, that means if in any interview, if they ask like where you define the rules for TypeScript, then you will say the TS config. Then sometimes they may ask like, then how to set rules for JavaScript? How to set rules for JavaScript? Is there a possibility of setting rules for JavaScript also? Same like TypeScript. We have JSLint, JSLint, JavaScript language analysis tool. And what is this JSLint is? It is used to set rules for JavaScript in a project. JavaScript in a project. So to set rules for JavaScript in a project, you need JSLint. There is a separately JSLint also. You can see JSLint. Actually, it is now changed to ESLint. Okay, it is ESLint. Now you can see this is ESLint. This is ESLint. Now you have to set up this ESLint. And this is for fixing problems, finding problems, configuring JavaScript code. That means it is an analysis of your code. Analysis of code means what? Are you writing according to standards or not? Are you mismatching any standard? Are you following correct rules of JavaScript or not? Because while learning, people learn a lot of shortcuts and they are not good for compilers. That is the reason it will warn saying that this approach may be slow. This approach is not good. That means output may come, but your approach may be not good. then it will warn you saying that this is not good. That is all done by using JavaScript analysis tools. We have JavaScript analysis and we have TypeScript analysis and we have package JSON. These are the files. So first thing what you do is after open Visual Studio, open in Visual Studio Editor. After you open in Visual Studio Editor, what you have to do, what to open project in Visual Studio Code, then run the commands. First command is npm init y. This is for which file? This is for package.json. That is a regularly used one. Then tsc hyphen init. tsc hyphen init. TypeScript initialization. This is for tsconfig.json. JSON. And actually for JavaScript, so we have this init ESLint. This is optional for JavaScript configuration. And it will have different files. You can have a JS file. You can have a JSON file. You can select which file you want. Actually, it will have a lot of steps. It will ask which version JavaScript you want to use, which module system you want to use, what should be the extension of the file, which compiler you want to use, compiler like Babel and all, Babel compiler, Node compiler. It will ask, do you want to use JavaScript directly in console or you want to use in HTML? All the answers we have to give. But this is not required for TypeScript projects. I'm just showing you about it. It is for JavaScript projects. That means not necessary, but some JavaScript projects may install JavaScript language analysis. What actually in real-time projects, majority projects all use language analysis tools. Even C++, Java, .NET, PHP, all these people, they have a language analysis tool. You know one popular language analysis tool, PMD, Sonar. PMD, Sonar, these are various language analysis tools actually. PMD, PMD, this is a language analysis tool. People like Java, C Sharp, .NET, C++, all these people use these tools. What is the advantage of installing this tool is in their language, if they are not writing according to the rules and standards, it will show warnings. So developers will never write without following the standards now because it will warn them in every point. All rules it will tell. So you can see when you go to documentation, in the documentation you see rule reference is there. In the rule reference, you will find Java rules, HTML rules, PLSQL, all rules will be there. And you can read the rules. And not only just reading the rules, actually, when you install this, according to those rules, it will warn you. Rules means already I told you so many times. For example, you are writing a code like a if condition. You write a if condition and generally in that if this is the statement true and we have else statement false. But what several times when you are learning a technology, trainers will tell you, they will tell you that you can write a condition and directly you can put it true, and you can put false. You can put false without writing this block. But this is bad code. This is not recommended. This is only recommended. That means according to the standards, this is a bad coding. This is good coding. That is correct. That means you may think it is shortcut, but compiler feels difficulty in understanding it. You don't worry about shortcuts because in our programming languages, we have a minification concept that will create shortcuts. It will take care about compressing your code. Why you are worried about it? So that is the reason these all coding shortcuts are not great. These coding shortcuts may be attractive for you, but in reality, you don't need them. We have separate minification tools. They will do it. Why you are worried about that? So that is the reason you write as per the rules. You can see, suppose I go to Java rules, JavaScript rules, code styles. You see here some coding styles are present, and in the coding styles you can see here. So if with block is okay, if without block, that is bad. That is bad. That means the people who are developing that language, they are saying that better don't try this, don't use this. So in programming languages, almost all programming languages have analysis tools. And TypeScript programming analysis tool is this tsconfig. Earlier, they used to have two files, one for configuration, one for analysis, but now only one file is there. That is tsconfig, right? So what you do now, open the project terminal, and in the terminal, you have to run. So npm init and y. This is for package JSON. Package JSON is compulsory. If you don't create package JSON, this ts config and all, they don't create, because to create configurations there must be a project configuration, and project configuration is what? Package JSON. That is first. After that, tsc hyphen init. This is TypeScript initialization. You can see it creates a tsconfig.json. tsconfig.json. It will create the tsconfig.json. And observe carefully here. When I open the tsconfig.json, you can see all rules of TypeScript are here, but all are commented. Only which one you want for your situation, you can enable it and you can add it. You can see a lot of rules are there. In this C, target is ES 2016. That means the TypeScript will translate the JavaScript into ES6 version. And you see it is using CommonJS module system. You can use CommonJS, UMD, AMD, or you can use RequireJS or ES module system, different. And a lot of other rules are present. These all rules you can enable and you can define them according to your requirements. Later in your projects, according to your projects, you will learn some rules, how to enable them and use them. As of now, you don't need to touch any of these rules, but it is always good to keep this rules reference. This is very important. JavaScript not required means that is required for JavaScript projects. If you are using only a JavaScript project and you want some rules for JavaScript, you can try this. But that is not required. In any JavaScript project, you can set it. But you just do these two, this is enough. For TypeScript, this is enough. Okay. Now, what we will do is here, how do we write the TypeScript code? So, next point is there are two techniques actually. One technique, you write your TypeScript code, translate into JavaScript, and use that JavaScript in a HTML file, or type write the TypeScript code, convert to JavaScript, and directly run JavaScript file. You can directly run JavaScript file also without a HTML page. But for JavaScript to run individually without HTML, you should not use any DOM methods. You should use only console methods, console log, console warn, like that we have to use. So command line methods you can try. By using a node compiler, you can compile JavaScript files just like you have compiled your API file. How you compiled the API file? Node REST API.js. Same. JavaScript files can be compiled by using node compiler. Without HTML, we can do. So I will show the process here. If HTML means you need some file system. No? What is the file system? Add folders. One is a public folder. Another one is SRC. Right? So, and add index.html in public folder, and add index.ts in SRC folder. TypeScript files will have extension TS. So TypeScript files will have TS. They have the extension TS. You have index.html and you have index.ts. Index.ts. Now here, what we need to do is in this. In this, we have two folders. One is public and another one is SRC. In SRC, we have a new file, index.ts file. And in public, we have a file, index.html. Okay. HTML file is this. Remember, HTML cannot use TypeScript files. TypeScript cannot run in a web page. So TypeScript is only for developer. They write in TypeScript, convert to JavaScript, and JavaScript only used in your project finally. So, and here what we do is we have to write some TypeScript code. As of now, we haven't learned any TypeScript, just we will write JavaScript like code only. Later, I will tell you TypeScript rules, how to write them. That means just var username is equal to John, something like this I written. Next document dot write. So I will say hello and that username. This is same JavaScript only. It is TypeScript, but I am not using any TypeScript logic because you are not still aware of any TypeScript language. And remember, TypeScript is completely compatible with JavaScript. That means whatever you know in JavaScript, you can directly use as it is in TypeScript also. There is no issue. That means even you don't follow TypeScript rules, it can run JavaScript as it is. That is one advantage of TypeScript. But we will learn about the rules of that. First, this is okay, ready? But you cannot link this to HTML page. Then what you do? You cannot link to HTML page. So what you have to do, convert this TypeScript into JavaScript. So how do we translate the TypeScript? So next point, transcompile TypeScript file, TypeScript code into JavaScript. we have to use TSC index.ts. TSC index.ts. This where you have to run where that file is present. In which folder that file is present, there you have to run that. It is present in which folder? SRC. There you have to run. What it is going to do? It generates index.js. It will generate index.js file. And now you have to link index.js to HTML page. That's what you have to do. So if you want to run JavaScript file from command line, then what you have to do? Node index.what.js. You have to use that. If you want to run JavaScript file from command line. But currently, if you run like that from command line, it will show error because you written document.write and command line doesn't have document. So that is possible only in HTML page. So we need to convert JavaScript, TypeScript into JavaScript. We need to translate that. So let's see here. That means how it is translated and how it is compiled. So we will go to this location. Where is that folder name? We know CD SRC. SRC is the folder. Change directory that, or you can simply right click and say open in integrated terminal. Then it will open only that folder directly in the terminal. Okay. Now here TSC index.ts. You have to run the command index.ts. Now it is going to translate and generate a JavaScript file. You can see a JS file is created. Automatically it adds. Now you have to just link that file in the page. That means you have to use script because it is a JavaScript file source. It is in /src slash index.js. So, and you run this and it is going to display that message, hello John. If you want any modification, you should not modify the JS file. You should modify the TS file. And here I will put a BR. So welcome to TypeScript. Some modification. After modification, when you refresh, you cannot see output because after every modification, again transcompile. Again transcompile TSC index.ts. The new changes are updated into JS file. When the new changes are updated into JS file, now the output will be there. So this is how we generally run, how we configure. So the code of this file I will give here. This is example index.ts and index.html. Rough code I am giving. Index.html and index.ts. You can do another work. What is the another work? What you can do is you don't need a HTML page. And instead of document write, you can use console.log. Console.log and no BR because on log we have to use /n. We have to use /n. Okay, now we can directly run here and see. So what you do now in the command prompt, first tsc index dot what ts. After that, in the command prompt, node index.js. Now it can show you the output here. It's in the command line, you can try. You don't need a HTML page. And remember, when you are not planning for HTML page, then don't write any alert, prompt, document, get element by IDs. They don't work. You have to just use only consoles. While practicing language, this is enough. Later, you will learn about different things. Okay. This is the basic approach you have to follow. But the key point is how TypeScript is different from our JavaScript. What are the new things you should know here? So we will learn about the new in TypeScript language. We will discuss about the TypeScript language first. In the TypeScript language, less like you learned your JavaScript language, first important, what about variables? In the language, variables. Here, TypeScript uses the same var, let, and const for variables. So that means in TypeScript also, variables are declared using var, let, const. Same thing, there is no change. I will explain only what is new here. I don't need to explain what is var, let, const. You already know the differences between them, right? So variables are declared with the same thing. But what is speciality here is additionally, every variable, every variable requires a data type, a data type, a data type to define. Define. Every variable requires a data type to define. That means here var some variable name syntax I will just give. Variable name colon data type is equal to value. If you want, you can initialize the value. You know that without initialization, just you can declare also. This is called what? Initialization. Var variable name and the data type. This is what? Declaration. And into the variable name, you are assigning some value, sending some value. This is called what? Assignment. Assignment. So in JavaScript, variables don't have data type to define. Now here important, if you don't define data type, by default it is considered as any type. Any is the root type for all data types. All data types are derived from a root data type called any. In any type, you have your primitive types and non-primitive types. Primitive and non-primitive types are present. Primitive, non-primitive type means what? Primitive and non-primitive types are present. What are primitive and non-primitive types? Primitive types are number, string, boolean, null, undefined, non-primitive, array, object, map, all this all are same, but their way of handling is different little. Let's see how. Actually, so the root data type, the root data type any type is any type. If data type is not defined for variable, then it is configured as any any type. It is configured as any type. But one speciality is there. What is the speciality? I will tell you. For example, syntactically, where x colon number, where name colon string, like this we can define. If you just mentioned where y, so this one is a number, this one is a string, and this one is any type. That means it can take number, string, boolean, any type. That means you can use it strongly typed, or you can use it in the JavaScript way. But here one speciality is actually TypeScript supports type inference. Type inference. Type inference, so which sets data type to any variable according to value initialized, which sets data type to any variable according to the value initialized. For example, suppose if I put var y is equal to 10, then actually y is strongly number now. That means even you don't mention the data type, according to value you initialize, it will fix the type. Actually, in JavaScript, it don't fix the type. You can assign any another value, but that means into the y I stored a. In JavaScript, it is valid, but here it is invalid. But I haven't mentioned type. You don't need to mention type. Even you don't mention the type, because you initialize the value. According to the initialized value, it will fix the data type. Remember, the data type is fixed according to the value that you have initialized. According to the value you have initialized, it will fix the data type. That is the concept here. That is the point. So TypeScript have to handle this. Right. So here you have to deal with that. So this is one concept. Okay. Now you see here, I will write some variable, and this is x. X is a variable. We haven't mentioned data type. Then by default, the data type is any. Now in this, you can store number, you can store string, it doesn't matter, because it is declared as any, then you can store any. But if you initialize with a number, then automatically only number is allowed. This string is not allowed. String not assignable. It is not assignable. Why it is not assignable? Because you initialized a number, then it is fixed as X is number. So even you don't write the data type, it will fix the data type. If you don't want to initialize, but you want to fix it as number, then what is another way? You can simply put a colon and mention the data type as what? Number. Then it will not allow any other values to assign. You know the difference between assigning and initializing, right? So many times you will be confused a little bit in the beginning of TypeScript projects, because you will see that many people who are using TypeScript, they are not mentioning data type. But while learning TypeScript, you learn that TypeScript variables have data type. You will be surprised like why these people are not mentioning data type in TypeScript. Then you may find that they are not mentioning data type because they already initialized value. If they initialized value, there is no need of mentioning data type because already initialized value type is used as data type. If they are declaring, then they will use data types. Otherwise, they will not use any data type. So the type declaration is very much important. What is type inference? Type inference means according to the value you initialize, the data type of the variable will be determined and it is fixed. You cannot store any another type. If you don't initialize any value and don't mention the data type, by default it is treated as any type. Right? You can declare type or you can assign. You can initialize. That is important here. This is basically declaring of variables, how we declare the variable. Now I will show you some points here. That means here uh, data types, TypeScript data types. Just a fast glance I will give you. Why? Because all data types you already know. Just a fast overview I will give here. So in this, we have primitive types. In the primitive types, we have first one, number. Number means what will come under number. In JavaScript, you know what will come under number. Signed integer, unsigned integer, floating point, double, decimal, exponent, hexadecimal, octa, binary, big int. All these comes under big int. These are all the number types. That means if you mentioned data type as number, then in that you can store all of this. You can store all of this. So if data type is number, it can have a signed integer, unsigned integer, floating point, double. You know them, na? Signed integer means some negative value. Unsigned integer means a positive value. Floating point will be like this. Double will be like this, right? And decimal will be, so more than several decimal places will be there. Decimal places will be there. And exponent will be 2e3. Hexadecimal will be 0, So hexadecimal 0x, so F001, so 00, something like this. And you have octa 0O, so it will have O, okay, 00762, something like this. And binary will be like 0B1010, that is binary. Big int is a number having a suffix as n. N suffix will be big integer. That means large integer numbers. Suppose some large integer number you are storing. To safely use large integer, you use n as suffix. This all you learned in JavaScript. So all these are JavaScript types only, right? Only the point is, if any of these you are storing, you have to make sure that data type is number. Data type is number. If any of these you are storing, then it is a number type. So numbers are defined in this way. That means you can syntactically say let, suppose we say value is a number type is equal to 0B1010. LET price is a number type, some 2E3. That means actually what this will be, what it is binary 10. This will be how much? 2000. 2 into 10 to the power of 3. You know all these in JavaScript already. So the same type you have to use here. So if you are storing any of the above, then its data type must be what? The data type will be number. Number. So only the point is in JavaScript, you don't mention the data type. Here you define the data type. So for example, suppose you can see that I am using LET, some price is equal to 2E3. I'm initializing. I'm initializing the value. I'm not declaring data type, but TypeScript knows that it is a number type. TypeScript knows that it is a number type because exponent is a number type in JavaScript. It knows that it is a number type. You don't need to mention number type, but if you are not initializing and you want to store this, for example, see if I stored a string and the price is equal to 2E3, it's not possible. Why it is saying that? It is you are sending number, but it is a string, right? That means you need to make it as what type? Number. Now it will be fine. Will be fine. So any of these values you are storing, then the data type should be what? Number. That's a simple point here you need to know. Next, what is another one? String. String. So you know how to handle a string. So it is defined. It is defined with a literal. It is defined with a literal that contains alphabet, number, and special characters. It is defined with a literal that contains alphabet, number, and special characters. Alphabet, number, and special characters. That contains alphabet, number, and special characters. So how this is going to handle? That means how it is going to work. right? Let's see how it is going to handle and work. Actually, this is, and string is enclosed in, it is enclosed in double quote, single quote, and backtick. What is specialty of backtick is backtick allows binding expression, data binding expression. And see, actually, many experience level interviews or even for freshers these days, they can ask you like LET, some name is a string, and LET name is a string. What is difference between these two? Yes uppercase and yes lowercase string. Is there any difference with uppercase string, lowercase string? There is difference. There is difference. Both are there. There is difference. What is uppercase string? What is that uppercase string? It refers to a string class of JavaScript that have all string methods. All string methods are defined in a string class. That is string class, not the string general data type. Even class is also used as type. Classes also used as types. But when you define a class as type, that means you are reusing the class members through an instance of that. That means first one is an instance of string class. Second one is it is an string type. It is an string type. So that means the first one is class. Second one is type. Actually, class is also considered as user defined data types. Class is also considered as a type, but the first one is a class instance, second one is a variable of string type. That is the reason even n uppercase also, number uppercase also is a class. Number class is there. Through number class provides lot of methods. Number class have some methods. By using those methods, you can manipulate numbers. Actually, in JavaScript, do you know in JavaScript, you have a number class. Actual, here we call it as an interface. JavaScript don't have interfaces. But in this, you have a lot of methods. These are all number related methods. And these are number related, all the methods. Number related methods. And similarly, we have string. String class is present. String related methods will be there. These are string class methods, string class related methods. So there is difference between uppercase and lowercase. While mentioning data type, make sure that all are lowercase, not uppercase. Because we have a Boolean constructor also. Boolean constructor is also that class. We should not use class names for data types. We should use type names. That is important. So here you need to define like this. So syntactically, LET, some user is a string is equal to some John, something like this. or let expression is a string, backtick your text and expression and continue. Just like this, we are using. It's a backtick. Literal is a string with a single quote also. Just I am using some syntaxes for that. That is single quote, double quote, backtick, all of them. So here, all string handling methods are same as in JavaScript. All string handling methods are same as in JavaScript. There is no change. String length, index of, last index of, substring, char at, char code at, starts with, ends with, all are same. No change. So numbers and strings are same. How we handle them. Of course, Boolean also same, but here some restriction is Boolean. It is same, but the point here is JavaScript Boolean, Boolean types can be verified. Verified with 0 is equal to false, 1 is equal to true. So, but in TypeScript, Boolean can be TypeScript Boolean can be only with keywords true, true or false, not 0 or 1. Only true, false, not 0 or 1. Yep, that is one difference. Actually, in JavaScript, Boolean conditions you can verify with 0, 1, but not here. It is strictly only true or false keywords you have to use. That means syntactically, you can say here let stock is a Boolean is equal to true. You can just put some option. So if stock is equal to 1, you return like this. This is valid in JavaScript, not in TypeScript. That is not valid in TypeScript. It is valid in JavaScript, not in TypeScript. In JavaScript, that condition will pass because stock is what? 1. You are comparing. It is a true. It will match. It will verify. You can write a Boolean value. You can compare with 0, 1 in JavaScript. Here it is not possible. Here, what is possible? You have to compare only with what? If stock is true, that's only possible. You cannot use that. So this is valid in TypeScript. That's the Boolean options. Now here, one another type is null, undefined are same. Nulls are defined with null keyword, undefined is defined with undefined. When we use undefined, when we are expecting a value into a variable at compile time, then we put undefined, and value is not available, then we use it as undefined. At runtime, if value is expected at runtime and value is not supplied, then you verify by using what? Null. Null is for runtime and undefined is for compile time. And you have to do that by using those keywords directly. That means null and undefined here. So null type, it specifies that value is not defined at runtime. Syntactically here, let name is equal name is null. You have to use the keyword null and you assigned a null. I will show with example. We will see undefined. It specifies that value is not defined at compile time. Let name undefined and it uses undefined. Here one major concept is there. One important note is TypeScript supports union of types. Union of types. That means you can configure a variable to handle multiple types. You can configure a variable to handle multiple types. That's very, very important. And many times you must configure a variable to handle multiple types. Variable to handle multiple types. You must configure it. That's important. Right. So how it works here means how do we manage this? Let's see. One point is right. So you can see here what is this union type and why you need this union of types. How do we define? Suppose I'm using uh, a prompt. Now tell me what a prompt returns. In JavaScript, you learned it returns string or null. Two, it will return. If you cancel prompt, do you know it returns null? Am I right? Then what is its data type? That means here Suppose I'm just roughly writing here. Suppose console. Yeah. Here I'm using a prompt. Okay. And your name. Okay. And hit enter. When I click cancel, it is going to return null. It is returning null. And when I say okay, that is going to return a string. Without value or with value, it is a string, empty string or some string. Then how, what is data type now? You can't give any. If you give any, then number also can be stored. Boolean also can be stored, but it should be either null or string. Either null or string. That is union of types. Union of type means, now what should be the variable for this? Where user name is colon, it can be string, pipe, null. This is union of types. That is union of type. Union is defined with a pipe symbol, and you can add multiple types, like you can put a boolean and all like that. Currently, prompt is returning only two. Then you have to define this. Remember, I am using enter name, something like this. So remember here, if I don't mention null, then it shows an error to me. It says that if prompt is cancelled, then it will not return a string. Then how it is valid? That means prompt is not a string. It is a null or string. Then how you define multiple types? You cannot mention any type. That's not a good idea. It will work. But later if I assign a boolean also, it will take. That should not happen. That's the reason you have to mention with the union. That means it is string or it is what? Null. You can define like this, where x is a number, is a string, and is a boolean. You can write like this. Uh, for example, I given only 2. Then see what happens. X equal to 10. It's okay. X equal to A. That is also okay. But X equal to true. That's not allowed, because in the union, there are only 2 types allowed. Then we will put one more in the union. What is it? Boolean. Now this is also allowed. Right? You try to store any another X equal to null. It is not allowed, because in the union only 3 types are allowed. It will define only 3. That's how it is going to manage. It is going to manage. This is the concept of types, how it is handling. So that is union of types. How do we define the union of types and configure that? Right? This is one concept of union. So let's take an example for this. Just one point I will tell you here. So syntactically, LET, so variable name, and we have data type, and pipe another data type. You can add multiple types. You can add multiple types. Suppose LET, some name is a string or null, is equal to prompt. That's how we define. Some will return undefined, not null. Then what we do, we say number or undefined, string or undefined, like that. We have to define. Right. That is the data type, how you configure the data type and define the type. Now, what you have to do, So you need to handle according to the types. Just take this one example. I will just put. Remember, programs I will show later. First, we are learning all the basic terms, how to handle them. This. So these are all the primitive types we are having. And you know, one more primitive type is there. What is another primitive type? Symbol, na? Symbol is also a primitive type. And the symbol, you know that. So it is used to define a hidden field in object. Field in object. It is used to define a hidden field in object. And you already know how hidden fields are defined in an object. So here, hidden fields, how they define is, for example, you create LET ID, and ID is a symbol type. It is a symbol type. And if it is a symbol type, how do you handle this? That means symbol type, that means you need to configure as a new symbol. That's the option we are having. And if symbol is not supplied, so you can see it is a symbol constructor. So that means it says new is not required. Okay, it is what type? Symbol type. Now, what is the point? Because it is static memory, it is not a dynamic memory. Now, what happens is here we will mention an object. Later, you will learn how to mention an object, product. General JavaScript way I am writing. Product have so name. So name is TV and it have price. And I want ID hidden. Then I can use in the square brace ID. It is a symbol. Into that we can pass some data into it. It is just showing some point. It is saying that it must be a string or number, type string and number. A property must be string or number. That later we will do because this is symbol. Actually, the symbol later you can add a string type and you can define. Because I haven't told you about object we will learn later. We will discuss because you know that in JavaScript, what is advantage of this is when you iterate over the object, this field is hidden. It will not show ID. It will show only name and price. But if you want to individually access, you can access. Individually, ID is accessible, but on iterations, it will be hidden. Collectively, when you are submitting an object, ID is hidden. But individually, if you try to access, it is available. In JavaScript, already you learned. Here only the point, it's data type you have to use as symbol, and it is not lowercase, uppercase, yes, symbol. Because symbol is a interface actually. It is a class. You have to apply as a class, not as a type. So here you need to configure like this. Later object I will tell you. LET, some ID is a symbol. Then it should be a symbol type. You have to configure like this. And in an object, the symbols are configured and defined. Later, I will show you how to deal with the object. For that, we need to learn about non-primitive types. Currently, we are dealing with all primitive types, right? This is all the primitive types we are having. Now, next we will see the non-primitive types. And non-primitive types, we have the first important is what? Array. And lot of changes are there now. The array declaration is not like JavaScript because in JavaScript array can handle any type. But in TypeScript, array can have similar type or it can have different types. It can change its declarations. Array handling is same. methods are same, only declaration have some changes. Those we will see in tomorrow session. Right, tomorrow we will discuss about what are the changes in the non-primitive data types of TypeScript. Arrays, objects, maps, regular expressions, date, how to handle them in TypeScript. Then we can go into statements, functions, statements, what changes are there in TypeScript. Tomorrow we will see that. Okay.